Once upon a time, in a cozy little cottage nestled at the edge of a sun-dappled forest, lived a fluffy, cuddly teddy bear named Barnaby. Barnaby wasn't just any teddy bear. He had a heart full of curiosity and a best friend who was just as adventurous as he was. His best friend was a clever, quick-witted fox named Finnegan, with a tail as bushy as a dandelion puff and eyes that twinkled with mischief. One bright morning, a wonderful smell wafted through the open window of the cottage. It was the scent of freshly baked bread from the village bakery. Barnaby's tummy rumbled a happy little tune. He turned to Finnegan, who was busy arranging shiny pebbles in a neat row. "Finnegan," Barnaby said, his button eyes wide with excitement, "I have the most brilliant idea. Why don't we bake our own bread?" Finnegan's ears perked up. "Bake bread? Barnaby, that sounds like a splendid adventure. But, do we know how?" Barnaby puffed out his chest. "Of course. How hard can it be? We just need flour, water, and that puffy stuff." They scampered into the kitchen, their paws pattering on the checkered floor. The kitchen was a treasure trove of pots, pans, and interesting jars. Barnaby, being the taller of the two, reached for the big bag of flour on the shelf. But as he pulled, the bag tipped and a giant cloud of white powder erupted, covering them both from head to toe. They looked at each other, now to ghostly white figures with only their eyes peeking through. Finnegan sneezed, a tiny achoo that sent another puff of flour into the air. They couldn't help it. They burst into laughter, their giggles echoing in the powdery kitchen. "Well," Finnegan chuckled, wiping a paw across his face, leaving a brown streak, "I suppose this is the puffy stuff you were talking about." Undeterred, they found the recipe book. "Okay," Barnaby read, squinting at the page. "It says knead the dough." He plopped a sticky, gooey lump onto the counter. He pushed it, and it stuck to his paws. He tried to pull it off, and it stretched like a giant rubber band. Finnegan decided to help. He pounced on the dough, but his paws just sank right in. He tried to tug them out, but he was stuck fast. "A little help, Barnaby," he yelped, wiggling his feet. Barnaby, trying to pull Finnegan free, slipped on a stray puddle of water and tumbled right into the dough himself. Now they were both a sticky, flurry, giggling mess, tangled up in the dough. It was everywhere, on their noses, in their fur, on the ceiling. The kitchen looked as though a blizzard had met a honey pot. After a long struggle, they finally managed to untangle themselves. They looked at the kitchen, then at each other, and broke into another fit of laughter. "I don't think," said Barnaby, trying to pick a piece of dough out of his ear, "that our bread is going to win any prizes." Finnegan nodded in agreement. "Perhaps baking isn't our strongest skill, but I have another idea." After a quick and very bubbly clean-up, they decided to leave the baking to the professionals. They put on their little coats, took their coins from the piggy bank, and skipped hand and paw down the winding path to the village. The sun was warm on their fur, and the birds sang a cheerful song. Their destination, Mrs. Higgins' sweet shop. The bell above the door jingled merrily as they entered. The shop was a wonderland of colors and smells. Jars of striped candy canes, mountains of chocolate frogs, and swirly, whirly lollipops of every flavor imaginable lined the shelves. Their eyes grew as wide as saucers. "Two lollipops, please, Mrs. Higgins," Barnaby said, placing their coins on the counter. Mrs. Higgins, a kind lady with a smile as sweet as her candies, let them choose. Barnaby chose a bright red, cherry-flavored lollipop, and Finnegan picked a swirly orange one that tasted like sunshine and oranges. They sat on a bench outside the shop, their feet dangling happily as they enjoyed their treats. The sticky mess in the kitchen was forgotten for a moment. They had failed at making bread, but they had succeeded in having the most fun-filled, silliest day ever. And as they sat there, best friends side by side, they knew that any adventure, even a messy one, was a perfect adventure as long as they were together. Thanks so much for watching our little story today. If you enjoyed Barnaby and Finnegan's messy adventure, Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fun tales. We'd love to have you join our cozy corner of YouTube. See you next time.